Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are talking about vinegar. In fact, we are talking about apple vinegar and apple cider vinegar, and I will show you in the end of the video how to make your own. It could not be easier. If you follow the channel guys, I always mention, I think quite a few times, that I always make my own apple cider and apple vinegar. I have the chickens, it just saves me absolute fortune. As you know guys, if you do buy the apple cider vinegar, I have here half a litre bottle which cost over £1. I think they're currently £1.25, so you can imagine how much it will cost me if I were to purchase this in 10-litre containers. Quite a lot of money saved here. First things first guys, to explain to you how the whole process works, it is super simple. We take a juice or extract of juice, i.e. if we just put in the water and apples together, we add in on a little bit of sugar, and guys, you let the wild yeast to consume your brew. So technically, whilst the yeast is inside your juice, it will then ferment and that will create an alcohol. Furthermore, afterwards, the alcohol gets consumed by a different bacteria and it will produces vinegar. This is basic terms of how it works, and it could not be easier and simpler. The only thing guys, it takes some time. And you can't really tell, it all depends on the amount of sugar you have, it depends on many things, depends on the temperature. However, I could easily tell you it will take at least 3 to 6 months minimum. So in front of me here guys, I have 2 vinegars, okay, well I have more than 2, but those 2 are, this one is made with the apple vinegar, so it literally is apple vinegar. This one is the apple cider vinegar. So you can see there's a difference in color, okay, and there is a slight difference in taste. So apple cider vinegar, it pretty much tastes like an apple cider but with really high acidity content. And then I have here the apple vinegar, which is a little bit more watery, okay. It doesn't have the same depth, however has the same benefits if you wish. So the difference in between those guys is we made this with the fermented apple juice, and this was made with the apple chunks left in water and sugar, which I'll show you how to do later. Also, you might be wondering guys, I have here, because you can make vinegar from different things, different fruits, and I have here an orange vinegar. You can see how much darker this is, and it has developed a vinegar mother on the bottom as well. Believe this or not, okay, this took 9 months to get to the ready stage, and you can see the color. And it is super more acidic comparing to those 2. However, you do really pick up those orange notes, and it's absolutely brilliant to add on to salads or make your dressings. Okay, next thing as well is I have here a cider that was purchased from one of the cider farms, and I really didn't enjoy that one. It was really dry and really lacked flavor. So rather than getting rid of those, of course guys, I left it to generally just re-ferment again by itself with the wild yeast, because you can see it's been opened and it's automatically became a vinegar. It did take, it's now been a couple of months, it smells really vinegary, tastes vinegary, however it's still got a little bit going on, so I have to leave it for a little bit longer before adding on or putting on the lid and putting it into the storage, okay? Another thing guys to mention, okay, we have, after a while of you brewing your vinegar will develop what we call a vinegar mother, okay? And this is literally the same thing that is floating in the bottom here, or in the bottom of my homemade vinegar. It's basically a vinegar goo. So let me just get my hands into that. It's really difficult to do, but you can see this is kind of a slimy thing. And the beauty of this, guys, once you developed and have your own mother, I can reuse that in chunks or in whole to add on to my juices to speed up the process. So I'll tell you about this later. So without further ado, guys, let me clear this off and I shall see you in a second and we'll make some vinegar. So I have everything ready. I have some apples here, okay? I have just washed them. So firstly, we are making the apple vinegar. So we're making a vinegar with apple pieces, okay? And first thing we're going to do, we're going to cut into the pieces. The smaller pieces, the better. Technically, guys, this is because we're not juicing this. We want to extract as much of apple flavor as possible. So let's cut them up as small as possible. Right, the cores and the pips, guys. Technically, as you know, when people make cider, even commercially, the apple pips stay there. I know some people worried about really minor amount of cyanide inside, so if you feel like you really want to omit the seeds, just don't include the apple cores altogether. But just to stop you worrying, guys, the amount of cyanide in apple seeds, it's so minute, and you have to literally consume hundreds and hundreds of seeds for you to get the cyanide poisoning, so don't particularly worry about it. Secondly, the apple pips are not all converted into cyanide. And thirdly, our body able to absorb a small amount of cyanide anyway. So please don't worry. However, if you choose that you feel you don't want to use them, then won't. So for this episode, guys, I'm not including the apple cores in. So we're cutting apples into small random chunks. I'm using a small 1 litre jars because, as you probably figured, guys, I don't really need any vinegar at the moment, but I really wanted to share with you how simple the whole process is, okay? So, apples going in. Get another one. I've no idea what apples they are, they just grow, so there. We're looking to fill it in, guys, for approximately halfway through, okay? Okay, that's enough. That will do us, okay? Another thing I wanted to point out, guys, I know many people that choose to make the vinegar with literally apple cores and apple peels. If you peel your apples for your children, I know many people freeze them and then make an apple vinegar, and this is absolutely fine. If you literally have a space in your freezer and you do use apples and you peel them, you have the spare, then absolutely fine. You can do that and it will be okay. It will produce your vinegar. Again, it won't be as potentially as rich as some others, however, it will work. So we are done. Apples are done. Okay, so I've got some water, so we're going to fill it up. Okay, I'm going to leave a little bit of headspace because it will ferment, they will bulge, and they will be moving upwards, so make sure you leave a little bit of room. And the next thing, okay, again, this is optional. Okay, sugar is optional. But guys, as we know, because of the whole process, okay, we have to make an alcohol first. So technically, the higher volume the alcohol, the stronger your vinegar will be. So there are natural sugars in apples anyway, so it will become into a fermented cider water if you wish. However, adding on sugar, I find it gives the yeast a kickstart, especially if you're going with the wild yeast, okay, and it will make you a stronger vinegar. So per litre jar, I would use approximately 2 tablespoons, okay. Just mix it in a bit. Don't worry about mixing it too much today because you have to be mixing this for the next 3-4 days anyway. Okay, so that's here. So your choices are, guys, you either leave this for wild yeast. So as we know, the yeast is everywhere, and of course we have a wild yeast on apples anyway, so you can just put the lid on and leave it at that. If you wanted to speed up the process, as I said, I would use my apple mother if I needed to, or guys, you simply shake this up, live bacteria in there, you put a tiny little droplet in there. Okay, it will literally be a massive difference in a fermentation start time. Okay, so we put then a little muslin cloth on top, and off it goes in a warm place. So for the first 3-4 days, guys, you have to mix it up, make sure that the apples are submerged in water because they will be floating up. Okay, so make sure, and obviously give it a small shake and a stir to make sure the sugar is fully dissolved. After approximately 2-3 weeks, when the fermentation started and apples are frothing and lifting to the top, I would strain that, get the apples out and put them in a new clean jar, and you leave that to sit for the next 3 to 6 months, depending again on many aspects, and then you have your vinegar. So that was super simple, wasn't it? So next thing, let me show you how to make an apple cider vinegar. So let me get this tidied up and get my juicer. Voila! We are ready. So I've cut some apples, guys, so you didn't have to watch me do that again. Next thing we're going to do, let's make some juicing, okay? So I might have to add on some more, but let's see how we go. Excuse the noise for a bit. Okay, so first bit ready. Hopefully you get to see the colour a little bit, but it's quite nice and pink because of the skin of the apples. So in it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna cut some more apples so I can juice them in a minute, so I shall see you in a second. So there we have it. I'm gonna leave this at this amount. Again, we need some headspace, especially we have some foam on the top. This juicer is kind of oxidizes it and foams it up a little bit. So anyway, this is what it is. So let me get this all wiped up, and again, I shall see you in a sec. Voila, we are mission accomplished. So I am still, guys, adding on sugar. Okay, I'm adding on 2 tablespoons as well. Give it a mix up. When you juice, especially with the with certain type juices, the apple juice will separate, okay, and you will have the bits in the bottom. The beauty of making this with the juice, that you do not have to strain the apples. So you can just leave it there, you keep mixing it, and then just let it be. It will be cloudy, you will have sediment, and after a little while, guys, it will be like sediment will separate at the bottom, so that will make it like a cloudy apple cider vinegar. But I like it that way, okay? I prefer it this way. So the next thing is, guys, is just as the other one, we're covering it up, putting it in one place, okay? With this one, I even wouldn't even bother adding on the yeast. Again, it's up to you, it totally depends. If you're doing this with the shop bought apples, I would probably add on the yeast, because they're homegrown, there's plenty of natural yeast on them, so technically they'll be absolutely fine as they are. And all I gotta do, guys, as I said, the same thing, just keep mixing it for 3 to 4 days initially, and then put this in a dark, warm place for it to ferment and obviously become vinegar. The one I've noticed with the apple juice is going to take a while, a bit longer than with the apple water, if you wish. Again, the difference in taste, it's quite significant. The reason I'm not making any more, because I'm majority using the vinegar for the chickens, because obviously it's good for their gut bacteria, the same is for the ours. However, with the normal apples and the majority of the apples I get from the trees, I'd much rather make a cider. However, if you don't drink and you prefer to do and use that, then technically I suggest you use this kind of method. If you're worried about the juice, and maybe juicers are like really expensive, that juicer was like one of the Chinese one of Amazon, and I think it was only like 50 quid. And to be fair, I had this for a few years, and it's been actually juicing my apples for quite a while. Like last week, I've juiced 10 kilos of apples through that juicer. So, and it's touch wood, it was still, it's still going strong. So there we are. So here we are, guys, okay? This is what we have, is the 2 vinegars. So in between 3 to 6 months, you have yourself vinegar. You know when it's done, because the smell will be unmistakable. If you walk past it, you will know it's vinegary. Just give it a taste, and if you feel, guys, that it's finished and you want to bottle it up, obviously bottle it up. If you find your bottle is expanding, that means the fermentation is not finished, but keep burping the lid. It happened to me before. So basically what you do then, if you see the bottle is expanding, just once a day, come in there, just undo this a little bit until it hisses and close it back. Keep doing this every day until the fermentation finished and it's gone totally, totally flat. Okay, and as for if anybody interested in the vinegar mother, this girl here, it's couple of years old. I've been reusing this time and time again. At the same time, guys, don't forget, if you put a little bit of the vinegar mother in your, say, a bigger batch, like I did with my 10 or 15 litre containers, it will grow, it will become a bigger mother. So you always give some away, or obviously keep it to yourself. It's whatever you guys want to do. You can keep the vinegar mother in a vinegar solution, so always keep the proportion of initial cider or vinegar she came from, and then you can add on the top a normal white wine vinegar, but you have to keep changing that or adding on vinegar about every couple of months just to keep her alive, because this is her environment, this is where she lives, so it has to be highly acidic. So there you have it, guys. So I do hope I've covered everything. If you have any questions, guys, please comment below, but otherwise, happy vinegering. Bye bye.